Can you make good images on an old digital compact camera in 2020? Right, something which has been on my mind for quite a while is the use of older cameras and older technology to make landscape images. Now, you may have seen me go out with 35mm film cameras, many occasions. I typically go out with like a Nikon FE or a Nikon F80 and shoot grainy film. I love it. Then my mind got to thinking, what's in the bottom of my drawer? And one of the things I found is an old Lumix LX5, a Panasonic, and these came out in 2010. Now this isn't my original. I had my original from about 2011 to about 2015, then I sold it. And then I got all nostalgic and I thought, no, you know what? I really did like this little camera, super little device, really well made, Leica lens. And I'm sure, being a bit of an exponent of using old technology, I'm sure I can go out and make good landscape images with this even in 2020. So I've set myself a challenge and I went out. Now, first things first, this video was recorded before the current pandemic, the crisis we're currently facing. So please don't think I'm being irresponsible and going out and shooting content, you know, in these times when we're actually not allowed out. This was done at the end of February. So anyway, have a quick look at the video and see what you think, and then we'll come back and I'm going to have a look at making some A2 prints. Right, well here I am shooting in my typical British conditions, as in absolutely blown a gale, just stopped raining. Giving no favours to the little camera today, not making it easy by choosing nice, simple, clean subjects. Tripod mounted, perfect light, super sharp. Nah, this is the typical sort of material I would shoot, so let's crack on. Well, not so sure about those. Awful conditions as usual. Shot most of them black and white, to be honest. It'll suit the texture and the grain, some colour, but mainly black and white. I think I better find somewhere a little bit more sheltered to allow me to do some more careful shooting. Well, this is definitely a bit better. It's more me, more out the wind, and I've got also a bit more detail around here. Lots of mossy tree trunks and weed and sort of fine detail will make an interesting image, I hope. this is turning out to be better already. I have some nice trees. I'll just get over this wall without killing myself. I have some nice trees, yeah, little rushes and reeds. And also I'm out the wind a bit now, so I can actually concentrate a little bit on taking half decent shots. These are definitely going to be a lot easier to work on, I think, and may well merit making that large print from. Fingers crossed. Now, one thing I'd forgotten about with the LX5 is the usefulness of the manual mode. Now, with it having such a small sensor and highlights clip very easily, and it is a 10-year-old small sensor at that, you really need to be careful not to blow those highlights. So I'm tending to underexpose slightly whenever there's anything really bright in the image, because it hasn't got any fancy display of what's clipping really. So it's yeah, it's not brilliant, I'll be honest. So really taking care, although I'm shooting with very sharp lens, obviously. The tolerance just isn't there with these old cameras, so that's something to be wary of. Okay, I have to be honest here. I am using the little vlogging tripod to take these shots in the woods because I'm shooting at ISO 80 and I need about f5.6 and I'm getting about 1/4 of a second, risking camera shake, and also want to put the focus point on these ferns in the foreground. So yeah, please forgive me, it's not quite as I said earlier, but yeah, still pretty straightforward. Okay, more tripod work here. I've got the lens racked out and I do want a bit of depth of field, even though it's got a tiny sensor. Let me just show you this one. Yes, what I've had to do is go for about f5.6 and it's about 1/4 of a second again, so I do need the tripod. It's got excellent image stabilization, but you're going to get some which are going to be soft, so if you've got a tripod, why not use it? Now, I've been out shooting with the LX5 for a couple of hours and I've reacquainted myself with the controls after many years of absence, and I'm really enjoying it, I'll be absolutely honest. I've got full manual control. I can adjust the focus position manually if I want to as well. Really high quality lens. Now, there are obvious disadvantages to a camera like this. It's age, okay? It's old, it's got a clunky menu system, very slow at panning around the screen and going through the images. Also, small sensor, it's noisy, it hasn't got much dynamic range, but there are pros as well and real big advantages to these cameras. First one is tiny little lens, Leica lens, very sharp, very fast, f2 at the maximum, 3.3 at the long end, pretty good actually. And the other thing as well is, because you've got such a small sensor, fantastic depth of field. Now I'm going to exploit that by looking for some macro shots. I may have thrown in some already, but I'm going to try and focus on something now which is absolutely guaranteed to show off the advantage of the small sensor and the close focus capability of this lens. So yep, off we go. Well, I do think I have got something today. Not sure which ones are going to be the best. I think the early ones are a bit harsh, to be honest, in the rain. But I did enjoy the forest there. Really enjoyed the detail, the trees and the close-ups as well. So let's get back. Let's have a look at them in Lightroom and let's see which one's going to make the print. Right, well, I hope you found that enjoyable. A lovely excursion, even though the weather was blowing a gale. I don't mind bad weather. It's my favourite weather for photography. So yes, I did find the camera in the end quite a delight to use, to be honest. It was small, compact, didn't weigh anything. I did use a tripod. I did say I wasn't going to use a tripod. I did use a tripod. It's just one of those things. It was getting a bit slow, the shutter speed. So, you know, I had it, so made use of it. Now, I started by picking 2 images to make prints from. Now, the first one is the last shot of the day of the tall trees in the forest. Shot with a tripod, optimum aperture, really nice, clean and crisp image on the screen. And it's come out beautifully on the A4 print, really nice. It looks, to my eye, as good at that size as any print from Micro Four Thirds or even full frame, because it's a very small enlargement. There's more than enough pixels to go around. However, the real challenge, as I said earlier, was to make an A2 print. Let me get back a bit further and I'll obviously show you this close up. This is the A2 print, and I sharpened it severely to make it good enough for enlargement, because there's only 10 megapixels there and it can start to fall apart a bit. Now, I've sharpened it heavily, and you know what? At 2 feet, 3 feet, it looks pretty good. But I will be honest, as you get closer and closer, it starts to look a bit false, a little bit grainy, but not in a good way, not in a film way, in a sort of unnatural way, in a digital processed way. Now, I'm sure I could play about with that raw file a bit more and maybe improve the look of it, but I'll be absolutely honest, as it stands, it sort of jars a little bit with me, and it was actually a bit of a surprise. I thought I was going to like it more. Now, I thought to myself, right, you know, the black and white image I took at the start of the day of the old bird hide in the dreadful weather. Now, I thought that's going to come out far better, because I chucked grain into the image, believe it or not. I actually add grain to these to break up the digital noise and to actually mask some of the shortcomings of a small sensor. So I thought, yeah, go straight to an A2 print, and this is what I got. Can you see it there? Again, I'll do a close-up for you. Now, I'll be honest, this is absolutely horrible. It is terrible. The image quality is dreadful. It looks soft, it's got no definition, it's sudden whitewash, there's completely black areas, there's no mid-range contrast. It looks like a small digital camera sensor. It looks like something you get on your iPhone and you've manipulated it too much. So, you know, despite my love for this little camera 5-10 years ago, I think that it doesn't stand up in terms of quality. And if you look at it compared to a similar size film scan from 35mm, this is one I did last year of Llandudno Pier, this looks more natural. Yeah, people will say like, oh, 35mm film's got no resolution. It looks good, it looks natural, it's got a natural grain pattern, there's tons of real detail in there and shadow detail. It's got much bigger dynamic range. So, I'll be honest, I actually thought when I started making this video, I was going to come back and tell you that yes, you can make perfectly good digital images using, you know, a little camera like this. Sorry, tea break. Yeah, I thought I was going to tell you how good this little camera was, and there's no reason why you shouldn't go out and shoot with one of these in 2010. But in all honesty, I'm actually going to say, no, it's not good enough in 2020, sorry. It's okay for small enlargements, it's probably okay up to A3, as long as you use the best apertures and you're very careful with your processing. And I'm sure you can make passable larger prints. I mean, the big colour one was okay. It was okay. But you can do so much better with a modern digital camera or even a film camera, I believe, despite the lens being super sharp. So, bit of a disappointment for me, really. This is going back in the drawer as a spare for sort of snapshots, and you know, when you don't want to risk your main camera. But yeah, what a pity. I was going to say something really good, but I think the times have moved on. We've got better sensors nowadays, nothing wrong with the lens. Got better sensors, better dynamic range, better colour, better processing generally. So yes, on that rather sad note, to be honest, yeah, I'm going to sign off. But look after yourselves and stay safe and stay inside and take all the good advice. And I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching.